What's up, guys? Welcome everyone to another live stream. How's everyone doing today? A little bit later than usual. As you guys know, today usually it's 12 p.m. UK time, but today yeah, I think to do, so we're doing it a little bit late, just before the Champions League final. So for sure it's going to be done by then, because I'm looking forward to watch in this case City, because of all the Portuguese players, in particular Bernardo and Ruben Dias, even Ederson as well. He played at Benfica. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good week. So let's take a look at what happened last week in the market. As you know, Saturdays is for weekly forecast, so basically trying to find out key opportunities for next week and what to expect. Yeah, we go around, start with our index, go around the indices, NASDAQ, S&P, even Dow Jones or DAX as well. Then we go individually into all the major FX pairs that I usually look at, some commodities, gold and oil, and then Bitcoin and Ethereum as well, which, by the way, they've been just crashing today. I haven't read any news, so I have no idea what happened, but yeah, just look at the charts and I can see that they are crashing and going to the downside. So here we are. Last week it was basically there weren't any big news events in regards, especially in the US. So in the beginning of the week it was a little bit in a range market. Basically all these moves up and down, that's kind of what we had during the week, right? But there was a pattern that was going on here, right? You could see that the dollar in particular was actually managing to hold the highs, and we continue to break the lows, right? And you know what that means eventually. Start showing a little bit of a bearish momentum in there. Taking in consideration also that even last week we actually managed to break this low, so that could have been already seen as an engulf to the downside. Just to make sure then the last confirmation to be if this structure would actually manage to hold price again or not, and even eventually create new highs, or if eventually we're going to have another one. And it just happened. So we are kind of a little bit in this level. There are maybe some good opportunities. To be honest, with all this ranging in here, I was not that focused. I did got something on Monday, longs on Euro and so on, but aside from that, Euro actually managed to fake out still this high. Dollar index managed to stay always below this level, and then it kind of eventually just start moving down. Next week is going to be quite busy, right? So we are going to be back to high volatility data points that's come out, starting with CPI on Tuesday, just one day before the FOMC. For saying that. Come on, Pedro. Nah, man. Inter beat Benfica, man, in an old-fashioned way with some penalties that didn't exist. But yeah, Inter managed to eliminate Benfica in the quarterfinal. So nah, no chance I'm going to support Inter. Aside from that, all the Portuguese players that play at City. I want Bernardo to win one Champions League, so that's why I'm going to be supporting. Yeah, but they have so few supporters, man. I've been around the city today, super quiet. If this was Benfica, if this was in Lisbon, everyone would be crazy outside. It is what it is. The underdog, yeah. I like to support always the underdog as well. Yeah, in this case, I kind of have a preference. Otherwise, it would be for the underdog as well. Nah, man, everyone went there. They have like a few thousand supporters, and that's it, man. That's City. Even when they celebrate the title, it's like just, I don't know, 100 people at the stadium, and that's it. You should watch. Just Google Benfica Marquês de Pombal and the celebrations 2 weeks ago. And you'll see what it looks like, and it was even better last year's. So the dollar, right, man? In Manchester today, it's Greek weather, man. It's 29 degrees. It's the hottest day of the year so far. It's too hot. I don't even know how I'm doing this stream at this time. All right. Dollar. What can we expect from dollar, especially for next week, where we have CPI, then you have FOMC. And then we're going to still have ECB press conference the day after. Then it's going to be BOG on Friday. It's going to be a full week event. Yeah, man, we are crazy. So dollar, respect to this level, that was a Devi zone. We talked about it already. For me, I wouldn't see it as a final destination for this move to the upside. So for this one here, eventually I would like actually to see dollar still going a little bit higher, but it's not happening at this point. And now the question is, where can dollar go to before maybe going to the upside, or is just going to continue to move down next week? So we had this beginning of the compression, price already kind of had a little bit of a reaction from here. We just managed to break the lows last Thursday, last Friday. So we did that, we managed to break the lows. Friday, yeah, this was Thursday. Friday we kind of recovered a little bit. We may have this previous support resistance on in here. Maybe from here price can go down, or even have another one in here. And then of course we have the extreme where actually this move started. Eventually if price wants to go down. Now looking at the daily time frame and just looking at these daily openings, usually price tends to kind of goes and respect them. So we may have a little bit of in here, and then we may have a little bit more underneath, right? This is already kind of a break in here, and we have kind of the next zone, which starts to be a little bit closer to this previous level support resistance in here, maybe even using this high as well. So that could be maybe one zone too. Something that I'm looking for example, it would be for price to even go in here. I still have a zone in there that I was looking for the dollar to react from. It never did. So literally question mark is this confirmation of a break of a low the engulf that's going to push price and to fill out this, or is there anything in here that is going to be used and price is going to go higher? That's a little bit of what I'm looking at. This is how it looks like the weekly, monthly. Oops, let's see the monthly in here. So monthly we have actually this high, yeah, somewhere in there. Okay, it's this high in here. It's kind of the one that's being used. Okay, I actually have that zone in there. Did I do this last week? I feel like I just did this and now it's last week. Yeah, maybe in here. Okay, comparing with that level of support resistance on a weekly time frame, there is maybe something in here. Yeah, perhaps. Or eventually it will go all the way down. Right, this will never really kind of complete this zone in here, and maybe that would be. But yes, I actually would like to see price still going up. So we finally managed to break this wall, right? This walls managed to hold this one. Now it broke below them. And something that happened as well last Friday is that, or yesterday, is that price managed to go all the way down. In theory, if price actually wants to create much more momentum to the downside, this one wouldn't really hold price and price would just move down. That's kind of a little bit of what I was expecting on euro. The euro to continue to break the highs, but it didn't. It just continued to move down while the dollar was moving upwards. So yeah, a little bit of indecision. Key zones in here to look for. Okay, we may have this previous one in here. I would be maybe looking even a little bit somewhere in there. If by any chance price may wants to go down. If in this scenario that actually we just take these lows and actually go higher, there's even maybe a possibility to look for long in here. And yeah, I don't know if price actually wants to do that. We kind of respected that level, respected, right? Basically almost all of this has been compressed at this point. There's maybe still something in there. Not really sure, man. Faden, what do you think about the dollar at this point? We did manage to break the lows, so that may be opening door to fill out this compression here all the way until that weekly zone. Are you going to go that? Are you going to respect this? Go down from here? Got a little bit closer to that level. Bullish all the way, right? Yeah, it feels. Because another situation is that market has been quite uncorrelated. Like the dollar has been, like the yen has been doing its own stuff. CAD has been doing its own stuff. It has been a little bit of a busy week for CAD in terms of news events with interest rate decision, like they decided to hike again. Then we had unemployment yesterday. So it's not exactly like strong dollar and you see the dollar yen, for example, going up, dollar CAD going up and so on and so forth. And then everything else going down. No, it has been CAD doing its own stuff, dollar, yen doing its own thing, euro doing its own thing. So we haven't really found out this a little bit of the correlation. So you still consider something in here, right? So you are considering that something in here where this was reacted from. Yeah, it may be a good level somewhere in here, in there. I would even prefer a little bit farther down. Did it touch the other one underneath that? Maybe a little bit more in there. Maybe. Never touched it. Yeah, maybe it touched it. Maybe if I check a little bit more in another time frame. Yeah, but it looks like a little bit compressed, to be honest, all the way through. Yeah, it could go to this weekly zone, reacting from that high. It's a weekly one, so may have some reverence. This one as well. So we'll see. I'll be playing it. It's going to be interesting to see, first of all, where the dollar is going to be by Tuesday when you have the CPI, and then of course where it's going to be by Wednesday for the NFP. I'll create my bias after that. Also, if you do break below the lows, if you break below this level, it may be open now. More confirmation that price wants to go down. Then maybe we can do something like this and then continue move down. We'll see. For instance, you start becoming super bullish. Now I'm going to be maybe targeting this highs and eventually wait for the high to be taken before then to move to the downside. I'm going to still be a little bit indecised. I do like, for example, that you eventually could fake out this high a little bit more into even the zone inside here. It's something that I wouldn't mind to see, and then all of a sudden you have all this accumulation of highs in here that maybe can even target a little bit more higher. Maybe first reaction from there, go down, then eventually take all these highs in here and go a little bit more. So price has been reacting from here. I even like this level, which is a little bit above it. So I think so. Yeah, it's still even a little bit above that. Something in there above this double top. So there are a few zones that are a little bit higher that I like, and I wouldn't mind to see the dollar going down. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I noticed that as well. The price levels on G4X and TradingView. I think G4X tends to be a little bit more down or up, kind of a few points down or up. I think we have that discussion as well on time in terms of dollar index that had made an engulf on G4X but not on TradingView, or vice versa. I don't remember now. Yeah, it is what it is. So let's see what the dollar is going to do. Is going to stay within a little bit this range, or by any chance gain momentum and push price down. Euro, to be honest, by taking the highs, I think maybe could go a little bit higher as well. So we'll see in a bit. So taking into consideration that, let's start with the indices. 1 second. Where are you? 1 second, guys. Something will happen in here. Yep, there you go. I got it. Indices, yeah, Bitcoin just crashing, respecting that level. So S&P, again, during the week, there is always, and usually it has been Tuesdays or Wednesdays, there's always that move down happening, and then kind of the end of the week has been always strong. That's starting to be a pattern, at least during basically all the month of May. It has been a little bit like that. There's a little bit of a movement down, like Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that, but then Thursday and Friday always closing in a positive way. Again, another one, kind of the first and second, then kind of go down, and then all of a sudden go up again. So that's something that has been going on, not just on the S&P, but also on the NASDAQ. We are getting really close to take this time, right? At this point, price is literally respecting every single fresh order that was there on the left. Initially, it was in here, and then now it's literally the last zone in there, right? So initially it was in here. Yep, that was the beginning of the week. Respected it, kind of respected it. Was still a double top, and now is literally reacting the last zone inside here. As you can see, kind of those highs, they never really got into the supply. I don't know if I have 1 minute data. Yes, I have 1 minute data. So even if you consider kind of this demand zone where it crashed, then you start having this level in here, and maybe this in here is actually where price reacted from. If you want to be super precise in there, but price could actually have started to have some kind of reaction here, but in somewhere in here is actually kind of where the decision is made. And as it touched that level, I prefer just to work something in there. That's a little bit of the feeling where it went there. So yeah, maybe there was a good sell opportunity after that with some PA. But in bigger picture, I think we are getting closer to take these highs and getting a little bit closer to this level. So maybe next week, that's where we're going to. The indices have been quite bullish. Maybe this AI enthusiasm has been creating all this bullishness in here. I think if you even considered, what did I read? I don't know exactly. Is it the 30? The 30 major companies that are part of the S&P. If you just consider those 30, something like that, I think it even reached kind of the all-time highs on the S&P. I think I read something like that. So yes, eventually I think we are going to go higher. We are kind of still trading within this trend line. There was again a little bit of a short opportunity happening in there, and I think the S&P is just eventually just going to follow NASDAQ and Dow, breaking these highs from August and getting a little bit higher. And I'm going to be curious to see how price is going to react eventually from there. So that's something to pay attention to on NASDAQ, on S&P. Yeah, if you want, maybe there's still opportunity in here. The price can go a little bit again, retest this level in here and go down and go up. So eventually this is the new zone that eventually needs to be broken in order to start looking maybe even a little bit more for a move to downside. But even if we break below this level, we have straight away this previous level support resistance in here that price can use, and then keep pushing price to the upside, right? So that can even happen eventually. Actually, something that could happen is actually take the highs, then take these lows, retest this level, and eventually resume and take the highs again. With the break of this low, some people may turn bearish, but then just retest this level, and you continue to go higher, maybe until somewhere in there before actually have a bigger turn maybe. And let's see until where that's going to happen. Even in there, maybe a little bit eventually higher. So let's see if there's going to be any catalyst that's going to help this. Again, we have FOMC on Wednesday. Let's see what may happen. And then we have NASDAQ. Yeah, the futures data, right? Yeah, it's more of that. NASDAQ, right? Beautiful opportunity for a sell in here. After price has broken initially even this trend line, but it was as well. And retest, beautiful double top happening in there. Now question mark was in this was, right? The target will be here. We also have this big trend line, and question mark it will be, would price manage to break these lows, and maybe that would open a little bit more onto the downside, or would just respect it and eventually push price to the upside. No, we actually managed to take this high, but still respecting within that zone in there. So we never managed to break a new one in here. At this point, you kind of are within this range. Since we never broke this low, I'm a little bit more with the idea of we may have another break of a high, creating after this triple top. This can start to become attractive to look for sales in advance after the fake out. And we are again in between these daily zones. This was a nice zone, so price is reacting from here first, and there's maybe something in there that price could actually use this this level, maybe the base of these lows, in order to actually then push price a little bit more to the downside. Bigger picture, I wouldn't even mind to see price going all the way and double top this zone. Second. Yeah, so as you dive into it, right, you have something in here. It can even go a little bit higher. So if you do create a new, this level can be interesting. 15 minutes is the maximum I have. Yeah, this level in here, for example, could be interesting. Actually, make sure you extend that into there. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, extended, can fake out that. So where actually price is reacting from? We found that it's a little bit higher, right? So we could eventually fake out of this zone eventually into there, and then maybe have a deeper retracement, maybe eventually into here, or even if not, just retesting these lows could also be a possibility. Attention to this trend line as well has been respected quite a few times already. Fake out to touch it and continue. Same a little bit in here. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if the indices are going to have another leg up and take that or not. So let's see what NASDAQ is going to do. Right then, do you look for another high on NASDAQ, or are you happy with where it is at this point? It's a good level. We fake out all this structure, but you may get a little bit closer to that. Or even retest this low. Yeah, I was happy with the double top, but in order to see proper bearishness and to actually see price move away, I would have liked to see price maybe respecting a little bit and then actually having a proper break of these lows. Like, and then we would create that kind of pattern, and then eventually somewhere in here would go down again, maybe using this left shoulder in here as a potential look for a sell, but taking into consideration that price would eventually kind of manage to break this low. Like, we respected it, so eventually may actually have a new high being created. I would prefer to see something like this being created. Yeah, right. So this is a little bit more of the path. I prefer to see. Yeah, I'm confused about the high. You say that it broke the high from the 5th of June. Yeah. So that's a little bit more of a bearish setup. A little bit more something like this, and then the retest, and you can go down. Right. If you just pay attention to this yellow zone in here. It's a little bit more of what I would like to see in order to trade this kind of double bottom, properly double top, and expect price to go down. Now, can react from it. Again, this work still needs to be broken. So we'll see what's going to happen in there. Something that we can start having here, for example, this one, there's maybe something in here at this zone, or even a little bit more underneath. Price just respected basically the previous level support resistance, and may have left the supply a little bit above it, or maybe this one as well. So we'll see, right? For example, if we break below, then eventually we can even have another retrace and then go down. Yeah, this one may have been already breaking there. Maybe have this demand zone in here that price could eventually use. That's not too bad. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen. Yep. Curious to see. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So this is what we have. NASDAQ, Dow. Like, Dow reacted from a zone that I was looking for. However, it still keeps respecting this trend line. Drinking another coffee. So yeah, it respected from the first one. So initially you fake out the highs, right? That's traditional. You fake out the highs, you actually react from something in here that's beautiful. And then this works actually as an engulf to the future, right? So don't get biased by seeing price going like this. This is actually an engulf to the future. This is actually a similar pattern that occurred on Aussie this week. So that's kind of continuation now. And the destination could be one either in here, or the extreme of the extreme. It will be maybe a little bit more higher on the test of these left shoulders, because actually these highs, this double top, never really reacted from there. So I'm still looking eventually for price to get there. Question mark is how price eventually is going to attract that. It's starting to show a little bit of this compression. That's actually quite good, but eventually we want to see actually a low being broken, or kind of one or two walls to be broken to start having literally the bias that it wants to turn, but eventually can fake out again and then we can turn. Like it's kind of repetitive, the type of pattern that we usually like to see, because that's how price moves, to be honest. Because if it just continues to respect the walls, it might just continue to go higher and eventually even break the highs. So that's one good trigger to or coup to try to use when you are actually getting closer to a proper reversal. Now, the initial reaction, it's good. It doesn't mean, again, doesn't mean that price will just ignore this level. It may react from here, but if you actually may continue to, for example, use this trend line, it might just react from there and react from here and just continue. So it's also about managing your expectations of the level itself. So for now, it reacted from there. Again, it went all the way down, for example, respected the low. So you still don't really have a break of a low in here. Even this one was respected. Wait. So it just continues to go like this. So let's see. If you continue to have maybe S&P and NASDAQ going a little bit higher, maybe this one eventually can go. And let's see whenever it gets into here, which is maybe a little bit of the extreme in there. So let's see. Eventually, then we can feel all this compression. First target maybe this low or in here, which is the next zone just below the low. And then let's see if we continue to move a little bit more further down or just continue to go higher after that. So maybe next week there's going to be maybe that opportunity, that sell opportunity on the Dow. If by any chance you, again, most of my setups, as you can see, it's a little bit more in terms of reversal setups. If by any chance you want to continue to look for longs, maybe just use the trend line. For example, in here could have been a good long. It is the demand zone, go higher, retest also maybe this structure, whatever it may be, and you can continue to look for long opportunities. DAX, a little bit more of, not exactly more of the same, like we went all the way, respect this level, fake out that double top, all-time highs in there, now reacting a little bit to the upside, so we fake out, engulf these highs, nice reaction from there. Now we're still looking for the possibility of price eventually gets there. We have starting to have all this accumulation of liquidity, managed to break slightly these lows into this level, so we might have, maybe price can actually use this level to go back a little bit to the lows, maybe before continue to go higher. So I'm curious to see how price is going to eventually react from here. We are creating all this structure, and the zone that I'm interested in is more in there. So let's see. Then eventually we may even continue to go higher. Yep. So that's a lot of what we do in there. Now, looking at the other currency indices, we have Euro index, right? So Euro index, what we have? We broke the low, right? So we have been in this range for quite a while in here, and then finally price starting to break some lows and starts to go down. We retraced and we going down again. Initially kind of still respecting this level, and now we finally took this low, right? So we took the low. We actually now reacting from the low that we fake out or that we engulfed. I usually kind of call it the left shoulder fake out kind of setup, but I prefer to see that immediately. But yeah, this actually gives a little bit of a strength in here. It happened in here, the setup that I was talking about, or that I mentioned. It is when you break the low, when you fake out the low there, where this line is. So we take it, eventually kind of break a little bit of the structure, whatever and high, and then price goes and respects basic almost precisely to the pip. And that makes it a really, what am I doing? That makes it a really good setup and gives some momentum. Then actually price may wants to go a little bit higher before continuing to move down. And we are here now, kind of respected a little bit this structure, and we had actually that movement to the downside on the Euro index. Now, something on the Euro index is that we know that we have been bearish all the way since the previous ECB press conference, like the interest rate decision, which occurred in the beginning of May, and this Thursday we are going to have another one. It's going to be actually interesting to see where the Euro is going to be. So we have been quite bearish all this time. It's going to be interesting to see where the Euro index is going to be by Thursday when you have the next interest rate. Because if you take a look into the previous meetings, even considering last year, the the tendency is to see bearish euro. I think just the meeting before this one, it was maybe one of the times that we actually had a little bit of a bullish momentum on the euro. But the tendency has been for the euro to go down on that day and even start a new cycle, just like it did last month, and we actually kind of predicted that beforehand. So are we going to have kind of retracement and then with the news kind of gaining another momentum to push price all the way down? Or by any chance we're going to start maybe going a little bit down straight away from beginning of the week and eventually have actually euro turning? So what kind of a move are we going to have on the euro? That's kind of the question. Looking at the bigger picture, actually I have kind of these wave shoulders in here. Yeah, are you going to continue to create momentum down? Yes or no? Are you going to even maybe fake out all this and maybe move to the downside and getting maybe a little bit closer to this next structure in there? So that's something to keep an eye on. We are getting closer also to this previous levels of zone in here, but that's just something to look at on the euro index and to keep an eye on by Thursday. We may finally have these euro pairs in alignment and see proper move in there. Also, then on Friday night, right? Or Thursday night, like between Thursday to Friday, we have the BOJ also interest rate decision, right? So it's going to be another important day. They continue to say that they're going to continue with this easing, and we are getting really close to levels where Bank of Japan was or started to intervene last year. It was around this level, and then it was around this level. So this was kind of a little bit of the first one, and you are getting closer to that zone. Again, there's been a lot of indecision in here, a lot of ranging market. Hasn't been just a complete straight to the downside on the yen pairs. We have been a lot of volatility, especially you can see that on the dollar yen, for example. Aussie yen has been a little bit more bullish, also because of the Aussie itself. Pound yen kind of a little bit more as well, moving higher, fake out finally that high. Euro yen a little bit more in a range, a little bit similar to the dollar yen. So that's kind of where we are in here. Eventually we are getting closer and closer to that zone that we've been looking for the last couple of maybe months. You see kind of start to turn in here, which will be kind of reaction from here. So we took this low. We may have a little bit of reaction as well from this previous level support resistance until maybe starting to get really closer to this level. So let's see if that's going to happen, if we're going to get closer to this level or not. We continue not managing to break any highs. It respected, and it keeps respecting previous highs. This trend line can actually change a little bit, can even maybe draw it from here. This one can actually be removed. So let's see. It's going to be interesting also to see what this yen index is going to do. Are you going to continue to move slightly lower? Anytime you kind of go to the downside, you kind of go upwards straight away. So yeah, curious to see what may happen on the yen. Again, we may retest again this level. We can even maybe retest again here, even though this is already triple top. Eventually, without this compression, whenever we turn, or don't be surprised, kind of, if by any chance, right? If you have kind of a quick move like that, we have maybe all this compression to fill, right? And that may happen quite quickly in here, which kind of would lead the yen pairs to the downside. But let's just keep something to keep an eye on. As price continues to move, we're going to keep a close eye on that one. Yeah, there's been basically opportunities to go up, long, short, everything in between on the yen. Euro, dollar. Right, here we are. This was a mistake from my side, right? So in reality, when we turned in here last Friday, not yesterday, but the Friday before with the NFP, I actually wanted the euro to go a little bit higher, and that's why I didn't even shorted it. And this week actually price went there, and I didn't really pay attention to it. It was that supply zone in here. The previous a little bit in here, kind of the previous high kind of reacted somewhere in here below it, and now price finally got closer into that level, right? This missed it. Interesting enough, kind of reacted from that level. We keep respecting again, kind of a little bit in a range in here until finally gain momentum. Completely broke through. All this kind of been taken already. Kind of break over high, retest the level, and it went higher. And then now we managed to respect all this. Now we managed to break another high, just similar to dollar index has managed to break another low. Bigger picture, I'm still not that enthusiastic about this low or where the euro reacted from. I could see euro kind of eventually getting a little bit closer to this level, if not even taking these lows altogether. But we may have a little bit of a deep retracement before that happens. We may even look at this highs eventually as a potential target, and it's a bit tricky on the euro because we have been compressing quite a lot on the way down. So if the euro actually starts breaking highs in here, we may start getting closer and closer to maybe even to have deep retracement, because there isn't that many things left in here that can continue to push price down. Maybe in here, but then maybe price can actually go a little bit higher, and all of a sudden we start getting closer to this range. Like again, last ECB press conference was in here where price was, and let's see where we're going to be by Thursday. Take into consideration that we're going to have NFP even the day before, so we'll see what's going to happen. Wait, then what you have? What's your bias in here on the euro? So all these walls have been, all these walls in here have been kind of respected. Maybe this one is still kind of a little bit fresh. Now I went to this with this left shoulder in here. Tank, right? So we are both really bullish on the dollar and bearish in here, right? It's a good zone. I will not say it's not a good zone on the euro, even respecting this previous level support resistance. Just fake out this high. Friday it respected quite nicely, right? To move again. I'm not the biggest fan of all these highs in here. If by any chance I would look for a long on the euro, maybe something in here could have something. This previous level support resistance in here, maybe just below this low. Again, let's see how price is going to open on Monday. If you want to look for another short, price is going to react from here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure where to. Maybe something in here could work. It depends on how price is going to open. If kind of we go down a little bit and then kind of retrace by the London Open, if you are there, maybe we can have a continuation to the downside. Maybe that could work. Picking out all these highs into that zone. Yeah, maybe that could work. Kind of reacting from this zone in here. Yeah, maybe that could work. Tank 0778. Oof. Huh? Is that to go short? Okay. All the way back to the highs in here. Is there even anything in here? Here? 778. Alright, you're correct. Ne. 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 Yeah, maybe. Maybe we just book the highs again when we start having a second break of a high. These highs are important, right? It's basically where it actually started out this move down. So eventually to take this one, it will be even more bullish than just this one alone, because this is actually the structure. But he broke another high. I'm still not 100% convinced that we're just going to tank. We may go higher. I'm just going to see how it works. If the euro index also wants to continue to move a little bit more farther down, to that maybe even monthly support resistance zone. Yeah, maybe this euro can continue to move down. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's see how it opens on Monday. I would even maybe prefer to just see a continuation almost from here, instead of making another high. Just whatever, crash it from here. Daily time frame, we may have all this. A bit of support resistance in there. Yeah, both wongs, yeah. Weird one as well. This one is a bit fresh. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. I noticed this one. I actually was thinking about going long in here, which this was never touched this level. That's kind of why I left this one behind. I have a little bit of a reaction from here, which is also in alignment with this one. Aside from that, not sure. This was a zone in there that it started opening like this on Thursday, and it just moved upwards. We'll see. Pound has been moving a little bit more to the upside, right? So initially kind of respected the high. I wanted to see the fake out, man. The fake out would have made me be so much more bullish on the pound, which didn't happen. Price kind of respected the high. Yeah. And then on Monday, a nice move. I messed up in here. I was about to go long. I just went long on the euro. Didn't manage to go long on the pound. And then kind of it continued. It started to make exactly that, right? New highs, kind of retesting and continue to go higher. This could have been a good long yesterday. A bit choppy. Price is kind of reacting a bit from this level. I think pound can go even a little bit higher. Do you think pound is ready to tank as well, or a little bit higher before? I think it could go closer to that level before any big move down. I realize sometimes I have so many trend lines in here. Just going to delete everything. I don't know why I have that one as well. Just delete everything, man. Yeah, much cleaner. Yeah, may go a little bit higher, man. If this one wants to go a little bit higher, for example, when this supply, I think it's still fresh, maybe those highs never reacted from it. So we go a little bit more. Because overall, like bigger picture, I'm super happy with where the pound reacted from. Right, this was exactly the target for the sales. It was this demand zone that was fresh. We had all this compression, right? When we finally turn, we reached the target, which was kind of this demand zone. There was a demand zone in here on the lower time frame at the base of it, and then there's another demand zone a little bit more, even in alignment with this left shoulder or at the base, right? There's usually kind of 2-3 levels at the top of the base, within, kind of in the middle, especially if you have a left shoulder in there, and then maybe at the extreme. And it reacted from the one on top after we fake out this level. It's been bullish since then, and we have been bullish since then. We reached one of the first targets. After breaking higher, we now aim a little bit higher. So are you going to be in a bigger move like this or not? Or you going to just even create new highs on the pound? We fake out this high, right? We fake out that level and we respect this level. Is the pound ready to continue to go higher? Maybe even getting closer a little bit to those zones. Right? Is this just a small retracement for price to continue? That's an interesting one. I'm happy actually where this one reacted. Now, could we even fake out this one more time, but maybe still respect this level? Kind of still stay within this level, but maybe go down in here, maybe fake out that level and go higher. Maybe. The build up of this has been quite strong, not breaking lows, of holding it quite nicely and pushing. It was a nice move to the upside last Thursday. $0.713. What do you think about the pound? At the highs, there's maybe still something. Right, but this one actually in the bigger picture, in kind of also just reacted similar to something like this. We just fake out a massive high, right? And anytime we do that, usually there's a good retracement to occur. So there's usually a really good opportunity, and then in the lower time frame and in the shorter time frame to look for this, which actually lasts basically a full month. So it's not exactly that small of a trade or small of a potential setup. But in the bigger picture, if you look at the dailies or weekly or monthly, we may actually be in the situation like this, that we just took the high. It actually can be an engulf upwards, and you can go then aim to the next level, whatever it's happening here. Also, depending on whatever we have in here on the left side, we may go towards there. So it's something to then keep an eye on. So let's see. I'm curious to see how price can react. I can still react from here. Can still kind of compress a lot. And maybe that's kind of a move that you're going to have. It's kind of a compression zone. And maybe test this level again, maybe go higher. $2.6. I'm not the biggest fan of these highs, man. What's in there? You like these highs? 60. What, do you like this level maybe? I wouldn't mind at all to see how this has to be taken. Yeah, this can work kind of as a valve shoulder, but we never really reacted from that. Not even the base of this. Right? Not even the base of that. It missed a bit. This starts to be a really interesting zone. Just to fake out these highs, I think there's maybe a good opportunity to look for a sell in there. Yeah, in here. Did price reacted from here now? Maybe this is where now price reacted from, and then we may have this one in here. 5 minutes. Yeah, you see kind of the base in here. A little bit more higher, but then this one is even better. In here, we have the base of this. There's maybe something in there. Right. I actually wanted to get short in there. Now I'm to that high. That one was taken. But there's maybe even something in here at the highs, which I will pay attention to as well whenever price gets there. Right, yeah, price just reacted from the base in there. Right, if you reacted from this one, that's basically where pound is reacting from now, and then you have maybe that one at the extreme. That's basically where we are. So that has been already reacted. And this is just the opening, like this is kind of the spread, whatever it kind of is that doesn't count. And then you have this one a little bit higher. But yeah, my favorite is a little bit higher, to be honest. I'll have this one in here, but my favorite to be to actually take this, take that high. We may just continue. There's maybe something in here that you can still use. This one was a quick one, a quick move. It has been a lot compressed as well. And compression can go all the way through until maybe that level. So let's see if by any chance price keeps respecting this level to the upside or not. Already found some levels in here on the pound. But bigger picture, it can actually maybe be a continuation. Because this is super valid. Didn't drop. This one. Yeah, 20 pips, something like that. It's crazy. Yeah, euro pound just continued to crash. Initially kind of respected a little bit this lows, a little bit as expected when price visits some previous level support resistance, and when it kind of has been crashing for a while. Usually there's a little bit of a reaction. The reaction then it happens all the way just to the next supply level, and that's it. Target has been reached, and from then we can most likely just continue to move down, target out these lows, and we just did that, right? Last Friday, end of the session, it crashed quite strongly. It was also the move to downside on the Euro index. So interesting. And now we are getting closer to this level. I have a zone in here. So we just took the lows, right? And we may have a little bit of this zone. That's basically where the lows are reacting from. And we have a next zone, which is a little bit in here. So that's kind of one of the zones I have as a next interesting area. 85115 or something like that. Something in here, we could take this level and have a little bit of a reaction. Again, it's in alignment with this previous level support resistance as well, and literally this demand zone is still fresh. Yeah, it's still fresh in here, so that's something to keep an eye on. It's this high, this will never reacted from it. Again, it can be just an intraday small setup, or it can actually be a quite good setup to look for. So again, just keeping an eye on that one, something that I'll look for in here, maybe on Monday. Even if you just retest this level, it's already kind of a 60 pips target. If you go even higher, then can even be bigger or better than that. And that would kind of force the pound dollar to have a little bit of a move to the downside. So this one could go higher. So it's just something to keep an eye on. It's already telling you where to go next, right? The way it closes. Aussie dollar as well, kind of a move to downside in strong. Oh my god. Aussie dollar complete bullish. This was the example I wanted to give. Alright, so we have such an important level of highs in here. There's literally a zone in here in between. And that's perfect because price goes, starts moving in compression, it fake outs the highs, so it moves down because it just collects liquidity from here. But on the other side, this is still an engulf upwards. It's a fake out in the moment and engulf upwards for the future. Because literally the destination from this is actually maybe a little bit closer to that zone. It wouldn't just stop in here. So meanwhile, there was maybe a good setup in there. Go all the way through. We actually slightly fake out the low, or kind of engulf the low, just into basically this previous level support resistance, and we continue to move on after that. And it's about finding, are we breaking any lows? As you can see, we don't break, kind of keeps respecting it. So there's no need to look for a sell. Like, you don't need to look for sells in here. Price not breaking lows, and it just continues to go. Just continues to go, and it just continues to go, and it just continues to go until where I'm expecting eventually this high in here to be taken, and you may get closer a little bit to these levels in here. Right? Can you just make all this correction? This is basically where it started. It's been quite bullish, Aussie. Also Aussie yen, for example, Euro Aussie to the downside. Not really sure about this level, so eventually you could even see Aussie dollar to move a little bit lower, but for now, interestingly enough, going upwards. So again, above this high, there's maybe something in here that price could use a little bit to correct, maybe retest this level, then continue, or even go a little bit more into here and continue as well. And that's basically Aussie and what I'm going to be looking at in here. think there's some kind of news as well. There was another interest rate decision last Tuesday on the Aussie, and that's kind of what we had in there. Euro Aussie, there was maybe a good long opportunity in there. Price never managed to break this structure, and now it just continued to move down, which is kind of the direction that we have been moving towards to. Right, it respected this level. Now in Gulf, it was a nice initial correction from there. When we get a little bit closer in here, again, maybe we have a little bit of a reaction. I already have all this accumulation of lows. Most likely we're going to continue to crash below that. There's maybe something in here that price could use, and then eventually we're going to again continue to break below and go a little bit deeper. And again, this is how you'll be looking at these levels. As price kind of navigates from here, it may have a little bit of a reaction, then maybe just retest next levels, previous support resistance, just continues to move down, and that's a little bit of how price moves down and up, and up, and up like that. Like bigger picture, maybe a little bit in here, and eventually somewhere in there, and this could even be a natural eventual target for how this move from there, something in here could be maybe a natural target for this move, maybe for continuing to go higher. Something in here, it's actually quite nice on the same frame. In here, since we had all this structure, that price never reacted from there, so there's maybe something in here to look for. Still a long way to go, and for sure there's going to be some kind of reaction before that, and it's going to be something that we're going to be again looking at. We have this below, something in here that's still fresh in there, this kind of demand zone. There's eventually this level as well. Eventually we can take this level. Again, keep looking. Again, we have this one in here. Matters, the details matter. The details matter when you're looking for these levels. Again, you can do this exercise, go one by one, try to see, like, this demand zone has been taken, then kind of the next demand has been taken, it keeps taking, and so when price eventually goes, you can kind of just fake below this level. This can work maybe as an engulf to downside in the moment, but then in the future, but in the moment can be just a fake out into here, price goes up, and it just keeps doing this kind of dance. In here, for example, could be maybe a good continuation. Now, eventually when price retraces again, we can have this level of structure as a fake out. Right, whenever now price decides to retrace, could be whatever, even respecting this level, or whenever it breaks these lows, could fake out, eventually aim towards this level, fake out all this structure in here. I think I already know what I'm going to say. Alright, pretend that it's working, because what is left behind now, it's actually this level of structure in here, right? So this is kind of what it's behind now, or left behind, since price never kind of reached this level. Those highs never reacted from there, so I have no space into there that eventually can use, fake out, and maybe just resume and go down again. Right, it's just something that eventually EURUSD could do, just to continue to push price to the downside in here. And even maybe from here, of course, maybe there's a little bit of a reaction to happen in here, right? There's still maybe some orders in there. Pretend that it's working, just react from next level, and then eventually do the fake out into maybe a little bit deeper, something into here, or using actually this wall, right? So that again, that's how price moves, right? Yeah, initially this could have been a good short. In the future, I'll no longer be looking in here. I'll be looking to go a little bit higher on the EURUSD. Then you can again go fine tune exactly where maybe there is those orders, whatever it may be, what time frame, and keep doing like that. Yeah, that's EURUSD. Dollar yen. Dollar yen. Well, then what do you think? Again, this super range, right? So we have been seeing the yen index moving down, which kind of should make this dollar yen moving higher. However, because of the dollar that is moving down, we actually have this dollar yen basically ranging. So we have this low in here and kind of have those highs. Now, the first zone of intervention that the yen index is about to reach, it's this one. And that would mean and that was before, it was when the dollar yen was at 145. As you can see, there's a big difference. There's a big distance between whatever dollar yen is at this point and whatever, for example, yen index is in comparison to dollar yen, it's somewhere in here. Right, it's somewhere in here, it's getting really close to that zone of that level. Alright, so there's a big difference in there. So even if the yen index gets there, dollar yen is going to be way behind in order to be there. Alright, so again, it went all the way, respecting again the demand. It's been fully range respected this level. Fake out a little bit slight with that level. I'm a little bit like with your scenario of looking for a bullish yen. Oh. But if you continue to see this bullish dollar that you want to see, we are going to keep staying within this range and trapped within this level. So if by any chance the yen and the dollar moves down, then maybe that can, no, actually the opposite, sorry. If you actually see the bullish momentum on the dollar, this one may actually go higher. So we are correct. Yeah, maybe that can happen. And this one's going to go and can go higher. So again, it's important for me this low in order to keep dollar upwards. If you do break below this level, we may go further down and we can continue to move much lower. Price is reacting from this level. That's an okay level. Eventually we could go above this double top and actually we can get closer to this zone. Right, so we'll see what's going to happen. This structure is quite important to see if the yen keeps staying up and eventually moving to the upside or not. Euro yen, more of the same range. We managed to respect these lows. I still continue the same hope on the euro yen. I can still see this one maybe as an engulf down, bigger picture with how the retracement. Again, price still respected a little bit of that structure. There's literally a zone still above it that this euro yen eventually could go to. Therefore, I'm going to still be hoping that price will continue to go higher, maybe towards that level before the sell. We broke this high, respected these lows, we're kind of respecting still this structure. So let's see how price can react in alignment with these lows. As price is moving upwards, actually I want to see a low being taken, because I want to start seeing lows being taken on the way while price is approaching that level. So I wouldn't mind to see that happening, kind of a low, this low is being taken, and then kind of price continue to move upwards, maybe reacting from something in here, whatever it may be, until it approaches that level. So yeah, then let's see how price approaches highs, and eventually we may have that happening. So let's see, maybe euro yen is going to be somewhere in here when the yen index is going to be in alignment with that demand zone that I'm looking for, and that can push then all this move to the downside. Also, we're going to have ECB, right? Euro yen is going to be also reacting to the ECB for sure. Pound yen has been a little bit more bullish, right? We finally managed to break that high in here back in 2016. We have a small zone in there that is still fresh. That's kind of where I was looking for price to react a little bit. Get a little bit shy to that, so I go a little bit higher, and then maybe we can have a little bit of a move down. Yeah, it's been respecting a little bit of this level. Maybe you can have some kind of a correction in here. Maybe a little bit towards this level or towards that level. Like these lows managed to respect quite nicely, therefore new longs. And let's see what's the next destination on this dollar, on this pound yen. Correcting a little bit from this previous level structure, or eventually go all the way there. Then we have Aussie yen. Aussie yen has been quite bullish. Right, we respected that target that we mentioned about it, and then price just continued to move higher. And to be honest, above this, we have all this accumulation of highs. That's basically where price paused. We may have a little bit of a zone in here, but we can even continue. We may even continue all the way through. A lot of it has been compressed. So we may have a few sell opportunities, but we may just continue to be like this. So let's see if there's any big reversal. We may have this level in here as well. So this is now the taking these highs, or a bit level, and then it goes a little bit in alignment with this one. Yeah, so just curious to see. It doesn't really look good. Everything in here on the daily time frame. Weekly there isn't that much difference either. Neither. So yeah, let's see what's going to happen. It has been quite bullish. Price has been managing again to respect a little bit of the lows, of the zones, right? And as price continues to move, maybe this one in here can be the first target. Eventually, when you turn, so you may go a little bit higher. Eventually, when you turn, you can go all the way to target this level and to respect something in here in order to continue to go higher. But that could be one idea. Target below this level, maybe into this demand zone. I would like to see price getting a little bit more exhausted to the upside before maybe that happening. And you may have a good trading opportunity. Keeping an eye as well on the Aussie dollar can help. Right? Imagine trading this. This is maybe where you could make millions of dollars. Trading this is a 5-minute candle. So yeah, selling the range, selling the top, buying the bottom. That would be the best trading strategy ever. You just need to wait to find this market condition, and that's it. And that's your trading opportunity in here. Could have scalped in here for 2 hours and make millions like this. Oh my god. Yeah, what a move. Yeah, this was Aussie Yen for you. All right, so Aussie Yen, yeah, that's the one. Let's see what's going to happen as well next week. Wait. Bring that back. Come back. Dollar CAD, right? A lot of news. Interest rate decision. Then you had unemployment. We continue to move down. Slight fake out in there. Continue to move down in here. I was looking for a little bit price to retrace. It never happened. Kind of a little bit towards that level. And we just managed to break a little bit these lows. Are we finally going to manage to break below this level of structure? That's kind of the question that we may have. Everything in here looks a little bit compressed, to be honest. The previous lows have started to take out those orders. So let's see. There's maybe even something in there that price could use. So let's see what's going to happen in here. Are we going to continue to move down or not on the CAD? Yeah, we do have quite a little bit of a compression in here. Spikes taking the previous levels of supply in there. Just maybe something in here to look for. Yeah, so eventually if you do turn, maybe have a target back to this level. So if that opportunity happens, maybe have something in there. Question mark is, are these lows still good enough to look for that? That's a little bit more of my question. Not the biggest one of them, to be honest, at this point. So we'll see what may happen somewhere in here. Yeah, even the other CAD pairs as well. Pound CAD, super bullish in that moment. It took slight with this low. I was looking for price to get a little bit closer there. It never reacted from it. And then it turned. Yeah, the same with this one. Wanted to see it retire. Just crushed. Yeah, maybe eventually you can go there. Because it just took slight with that level. So we'll see how it's going to react from here. It already reacted quite nicely. Test previous support resistance as well. And they're back in this level. Another maybe good opportunity that may happen. The CAD yen. We are in this range. Kind of respect to that level again. And I'm looking a little bit more higher. Again, it may continue to go higher, to be honest. Maybe even target all these highs. But there's maybe something in here. In the time frame, I think there's maybe something in there. That price could fake out this double top or these highs and react from there. How big of a reaction is going to be, I'm not sure. Looking at the bigger picture, it can even continue to go higher, or can even target this one in here, to be honest. Yeah, let's see. there's maybe some opportunity above all these highs. Yep, EuroCAD as well. It's another one without the news. There's a good opportunity to look for longs in there. Compress. We took these highs, reacting to the demand again, kind of in alignment with this left shoulder. Bigger picture, price kind of reacted a little bit from this level. It's actually a really good level where price reacted from, but then I'm looking for price even to take this above all somewhere into here a little bit. So let's see what's going to happen in there. Dollar franc Swiss. This was a big miss for me. Yeah, this fake out in here that happened. I've been a little bit more bearish at this point. I'm still waiting and hoping we fake out these highs. I can actually delete this one. We fake out these highs in here. This for me can actually be an engulf to the upside. We started having lows being broken. Again, lows being broken. It's a good sign eventually for price to turn. And in here, the key here was a little bit of the problem. I was looking for price to fake out this high, that's correct, but I wanted to see price maybe getting a little bit closer to this level. Never occurred. It's actually a beautiful 1 minute supply in there, where actually the highs reacted from. Yep, I did that analysis too late. Right, you can see it. It's actually a beautiful zone. And if we extend it, we're going to see it. Exactly where actually reacted from. There you go. Not this one, this one. Right, so that's actually a beautiful move. I can actually delete it. Yeah, so break close in here could have been a great short. I completely ignored everything on our franc Swiss because I still was looking for that, so I ignored everything, and this was actually a great short. Now that can open space for finally maybe price make this big move down. Now, if you want to see bullish on the dollar, this is going to continue to go higher, not going to go down. This is one of those that also tells me that the dollar may go down. It's been overdue a little bit. Where price is reacting, not really the biggest fan. We may react for something from this support resistance level and go down, or may retest at this level. Okay, we'll see, or even eventually go all the way to fake out now out in here and to go down. But yes, overall, I think I would like to see eventually price starting to continue to move down without this compression and target this above all in here. And from here, we can finally react from this demand zone and finally make this move. I'm still open to the possibility as well that maybe all this move to the downside, all this retracement eventually is going to target this high somewhere in here. So that's something that could happen on the dollar franc Swiss. Yeah, it may take a couple of months or so, but that's something that could eventually occur in here. And that's my wishful thinking. Target this high eventually somewhere in there. So that's a really bigger picture setup, and yeah, I would love to see that happening. We just compressed all this in here, so went out the way. We haven't really taken this high, so maybe we're going to do that. And after that, we may be ready to turn to the downside. Actually, have a little bit of a supply in there. Yeah, that's one of my favorites on our franc Swiss. Gold, just the same. In the range, there was quite of a good opportunities maybe in here. And go down, up, first respecting go down, then goes all the way to respecting go up. Reacted from there. You took a beautiful short fade in here. We basically saw the top in here, close at the bottom. I5, that's a beautiful setup, beautiful trade. And we may aim all the way until there. And then let's see if eventually we manage to break these highs, we may go higher. At this point, we are within this range, and we may get stuck in between here again, trading a little bit more. So let's see what may happen. I really like the level it reacted from in here, so I'm okay with that. We may have a retracement or just react from here again, and eventually continue to move to the downside. And yeah, and if you do that, eventually you can target something in here. Yeah, something a little bit there in there. Oil, yeah, super volatile. Another crash down, reacting from that level, may go a little bit closer to these walls, and we are in this range. I've been paying a little bit more attention to oil recently. Alright, we are in this range in here. Again, that 75 mark, still kind of looking for it. Yeah, price reacted from there, may go down, may get a little bit closer. Again, I was looking for price to go a little bit high in here before the crash. Yeah, that's kind of where we are. Some news regarding the oil, like reducing the production. Yeah, maybe in there. Again, look for the extremes. When we are in these ranges, just look for the extremes. And try to trade the extremes. Crypto. There you go. A big move to the downside. It's another Friday. Another typical move. This case was Saturday morning. Yeah, went all the way up. Respected it. So basically what we covered the week before, right? That we mentioned about this double O, and that price could go down and kind of react from here. It just happened straight away on Monday, if not mistaken. Monday, Tuesday, something like that. Went all the way up, respect these highs, and apparently now it just went all the way down to respect this low one more time. Personally, I've been looking for that setup to happen, which would take a little bit more closer to this previous level of support resistance, and my zone is actually a little bit still underneath it. So if price by any chance, I wouldn't mind to see price even fake out this walls in here and getting a little bit closer to that. Again, this value in here quite important for me. If we kind of break that, maybe we can go a little bit more farther down. Let's see what's going to happen. If you are back into a range in here or not. Yeah, respected the buys of this now. Continue to move down. Is there anything in here that price can hold? I'll just go a little bit more farther down than that. Yeah, volatility in here. So yeah, I'm curious still to see how price eventually going to react from here. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen next. If price starts touching this level many times without breaking highs, eventually we are going to actually continue to move down. So yeah, at this point maybe more intraday setups instead of just swings or looking for price to completely crash. We'll see. Above here can be something as well. Now that I have this double top. Ethereum, we managed to break below these walls. Interesting. Respected the highs, respected supply, and now I move down a little bit more deep into this level. All these left shoulders. Yeah, I may even go below that level. Again, let's see. If you do break below something in here, you may start aiming farther down. And yeah, let's see what kind of consequences well it's going to have. If this is kind of a sign of kind of risk off. And if there's any kind of correlation with NASDAQ, it hasn't happened this year. Literally, the correlation that was quite strong last year, it disappeared this year. So let's see. All right. Yeah. We'll see. Okay, guys. Thank you. A quicker one today. Thank you for watching again. Any questions, comments? If you are new, subscribe. Let's take a look at the final of the Champions League. Let's see what's going to happen. It's so hot in the UK this weekend. Thank you, Pedro, for taking the time as well. Let's yeah, man. Let's have a great week. Let's have a great week next starting next Monday. You're always in contact with each other, so another notification on BTC, just another spike down. Fantastic. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.